Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Jenny Kwan. I'm the Member Parliament for Vancouver East. And I am so happy to be here today to celebrate Lunar New Year towards the tail end of Lunar New Year with all of you. And with me today, somebody you already all know very well, is my leader, the NDP's leader, Jagmeet Singh. And he's here in Toronto. In fact, he's very familiar with Toronto, as you know. He's been a representative here provincially for many years, and now as a national leader, never forgetting his roots and coming back to Toronto.
And as Jenny was saying, this is near the end of Lunar New Year, so I still think it's appropriate if I said Gonggai Pat Joy and Shinin Kwaila from Anhad and I and Gurkidan and I to all of you. As Jenny said, my roots are very much strong roots in Toronto. I was actually born in Scarborough, so coming back to Scarborough is very special because I was born specifically here in Scarborough, and this is where my family, my mom and dad first came to Canada and had their first apartment and were first struggling to try to get on their feet. So lots of connection to Scarborough specifically and to Toronto in general. And as Jenny was saying, we are really committed to fighting for people. We found that in the minority government, we had an opportunity to fight for people and to make a difference. So what we're delivering is dental care for kids under 12. Right now that is available for kids that qualify. Parents should go out and apply. You get $1,300 per child to look after your children's teeth. That's something we really wanted to make happen. We fought to get people an increase in their GST rebate, doubling it. So that's nearly 10 million Canadians received $467. So some help to get people that little extra support to pay the groceries or pay the bills. And for any time someone has ever struggled, having a little extra support means the world of difference. And I think about the time that I had to take care of my younger brother when I was in university, and how I had to work 3 jobs to put food on the table, and how scared I was that my younger brother would go hungry. And getting a little bit of help, sometimes from one of my brother's friends' moms would send home food, and we would eat that food and it would get us through that week. And that's the thing that we want to do, is give people a little bit of respect and dignity and find more ways to give them help, because the cost of living is going up and inflation is rising, and we know one of the causes is corporate greed. We're the only party that's saying that we've got to tackle the corporate greed of those big grocery corporate chains and find ways to give people more help. That's what we're fighting for. And then healthcare is another major concern. We know that healthcare should be there for people. And here in Ontario, we're really worried about the for-profit schemes of Doug Ford and other premiers like Daniel Smith. We want to make sure healthcare is there for you. You shouldn't have to worry. You shouldn't have to wait hours and hours to get care. Right now, that's what people have to do. But we know if we invest in our public healthcare system, hire more doctors, nurses, and frontline healthcare workers, we can solve these problems. So we're fighting hard in this Year of the Rabbit. We're going to be focused on healthcare, cost of living, and getting the government to do what they promised to do in the deal. We're going to force them to expand the dental care to include teenagers, 18 and under, seniors, and people living with disabilities. That's going to cover a lot of Canadians. When all is said and done, our dental care program will cover up to 9 million Canadians. That's nearly 1 in 5 Canadian will get help because of this program. We're very proud of that, but there's a lot more to do, and we're going to keep on fighting. So we're really, really excited to be here. So lucky to have a chance to meet with all of you. This is very important for me as a member for Burnaby South riding, which is very diverse, has a very strong Asian community, particularly Chinese, both Cantonese and Mandarin speaking. So to spend some time with the Chinese media in general, in specific, is really important for me, and so I'm honored to be here with you. And I'm really lucky to have Jenny Kwan, who's done an excellent job of keeping strong connections with the Chinese community, and as our immigration critic, really understands some of the major challenges that the community is faced with. And of course, as someone who's experienced, has lived in Hong Kong and knows the community very intimately, is a strong asset for me and our team. So I'm really honored to be here. Thank you so much. With that, I'll pass it back to you for any questions. And Anhad is just waving at you there.
Can I start the first question?
Sure.
I think the coalition between NDP and Liberals seems very successful. You bring out lots of good programs. But on the other hand, like Conservatives, an opposition party, they got more sound bites because opposing the Liberal policy. When we look at NDP, do you think that that coalition will prohibit your getting more sound bites from the media? And this coalition, will it be break any time this year to have another election?
Okay, appreciate the question. So I know a lot of people use the word coalition, but I just want to be very accurate. It's not a coalition. Coalition would mean that I would be in government or have a position like a minister or in cabinet. So no one in my team of our 25 MPs is in the government. No one is a cabinet minister or any minister. And so we're not in a coalition. But what we're doing is we're doing what people sent us to do. Canadians sent us to Ottawa to get to work. They said, we've got struggles, we've got problems, work on those problems, find solutions. And they sent 2 minority governments in a row, 2019 and in 2021. So we're listening to people and we're trying to deliver meaningful help. And I think we've actually become even more relevant. Really, it's almost the opposite. When we look at the Conservatives in this difficult time, when people are faced with cost of living and inflation and pressures, what has the Conservative government or party done to make people's lives better? They can't point to a single policy. We can point to dental care, rental supports, GST benefits. So we can actually point to real concrete things that have made people's lives better. The Conservatives can't say that. So I think, in fact, it's shown that we're more relevant than ever. We are serious about helping people and using our power not just to make noise, but to actually get things done. And that's what I'm hoping Canadians can see. So right now, we are not prepared. We're not making that decision about an election right now. That's not our focus. So right now, that's not what we want to do. Right now, what we're focused on is healthcare and cost of living. So we can let Canadians know that that's not what we're focused on. We always have the right to withdraw our support, but we want to focus on getting results for Canadians, getting the dental care, making sure we find more ways to give financial support to people, tackling the cost of groceries. So we're going to focus on getting results for people. And if it ever comes down to it and the Liberals break any part of the agreement or aren't delivering for what Canadians need, then we always have the ability to withdraw our support. But right now our focus is on delivering, and so far we have delivered things like dental care to people.
Okay, last question.
Minister of Immigration will have a briefing tomorrow. So I think it's about the Hong Kong Pathway Immigration Program for Hong Kong residents. You have any update, or what about the NDP position on this program?
I'll just say generally, and then I'll definitely go to Jenny as our critic, so that was the right person to go for the question. General position of our party is we want to provide as much support as possible to the people of Hong Kong. There's been lots of concerns about people raising their voice around democracy and the real threats to their life and their security. And so we, as a party that defends human rights, want to be there for the people of Hong Kong who need safety and security. And so our party has always taken the position that we should be as welcoming as possible, particularly when people are going through struggles. But I'll turn to Jenny for more details on that program.
Yeah, so one of the things that Canada can do to support the people of Hong Kong is providing them a safe space to come to safety. And the government did announce the lifeboat scheme in the beginning. However, the lifeboat scheme is set to expire on February the 7th. So what we've been calling for the government to do is to extend the program, because the situation in Hong Kong is still such where people are being persecuted. The national security law is still in full force. I think, if anything, the aggression in going after people who are fighting for their basic rights and democracy and for the government to honor basic law in Hong Kong has actually further eroded. So we need to expand and extend the lifeboat scheme. The lifeboat scheme, when the government first brought it in, was very limiting. It continues to be very limiting, and particularly the issue around the 5-year limitation with education was a major barrier. Many people who need access to the lifeboat scheme graduated 5 years before more than 5 years before the application. But setting a 5-year limitation means that they're not qualified. In fact, as of October of 2022, only 134 people qualify for this program. So that really shows you how ineffective, really, the measure has been. So New Democrats, right from the beginning, I, as the immigration critic, had called on the government to lift that 5-year limitation, in the very minimum, expand it to 10 years. So those are the kinds of things that we've been fighting for people. There are other immigration measures that we can support the people of Hong Kong, such as expanding the family reunification measure, allowing for family members to sponsor extended families to come to Canada, a program that we used to have in place, by the way. That's how I came to Canada. My aunt sponsored my family to come to Canada. So we should be opening up those kinds of immigration measures for the people of Hong Kong, and I would say for the larger community as well. So with the announcement coming up tomorrow with the Minister of Immigration, I am very optimistic that he heard these messages from the Democrats as the critic, from community and advocates in the community who's been fighting for this right from the get-go. And I remain very optimistic that it will be a positive announcement for the people of Hong Kong.
Okay. Yeah, one last question. NDP position about the China balloon, because Pentagon says that that's no threat.
Yeah. We're concerned about the balloon from the beginning, and we support the United States decision. We were also aware that the balloon was in Canadian airspace as well, and of course we want to maintain good relations with all countries around the world. But in this case, there was concerns around our national security and potential breaches, and so we support the decision of the United States.